Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Fivefold right here on Variety Sports Network. This is the Game 4 post-game show of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. And what a game we saw tonight as the Edmonton Oilers unleashed everything that they could against the Florida Panthers tonight in that 8-1 win in Game 4 to start off elimination. Basically, and Florida's up now 3-1 in the series. The series heads back to Sunrise, Florida, where the Florida Panthers will look to win the Stanley Cup again. You know, they had that opportunity tonight, and they couldn't get it done. Stuart Skinner was on fire tonight. He was seeing absolutely everything from every corner of the ice. Again, it did not help that the Florida Panthers any opportunity that they had some opportunities to get into the game early on. They had a chance to tie it 2-2 at one point. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But it's just a spectacular game from the Edmonton Oilers, and it's a game I think we've been waiting to see from the Edmonton Oilers so far in the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, it was an elimination game, so there was a lot on the line, and they came out and proved that they deserve to be there, basically. You see Connor McDavid get his first goal of the Stanley Cup Finals, untying Wayne Gretzky in assists as well in the postseason with 31, I believe is what it was. He had 1 goal, 3 assists, four total points on the game tonight as well. Adam Henrique had a goal. Matthias Janmark, Dylan Holloway had 2 goals on the night. And again, Stuart Skinner looked fantastic. He stopped 32 of 33, just all over the place. Absolutely all over the place. You get 3 goals in the first from the Edmonton Oilers, 3 in the second, and 2 in the third. And they overall, from start to finish, from the first period on, they outplayed the Florida Panthers. They really did. Let's talk about Stuart Skinner a little bit here. Now, if you watched the 3 previous games, you saw a Stuart Skinner that just kind of looked out of place. He didn't look like he was there 100%. Just kind of bouncing around. There was some things. There were some pucks that got past him that you didn't see in the Dallas series that got by him. Tonight was a whole completely different ball game. I don't know if it's just the fact that the Florida Panthers were not 100% from, but they just didn't. They played sloppy. They were all over the place as well. They didn't forecheck. It didn't seem to be forechecking very well. They had a lot of bad turnovers throughout the game as well. One of those led to the first goal by Matthias Janmark too, which was a shorthanded goal early on in period 1. So just some early thoughts there as well. So again, you know, throw your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think about Game 4 as well. What kind of questions and stuff and whatnot. I'll do my best to answer it as we go through. It was just again, back to the Stuart Skinner thing. I got off track for a second. My bad. Back to Stuart Skinner. So Stuart Skinner looked like the guy that the Edmonton Oilers needed, and it had needed in Game 1, 2, and 3. He saw everything start to finish. Again, 31 or 32 or 33 shots tonight. He was able to stop, and I'm sure there was more shot attempts on net that we aren't going to see stats wise, but that's at least what we got out of it. So Stuart Skinner again tonight looked good. He looked good, and that was a big reason the Edmonton Oilers were able to advance to Game 5 and not get eliminated tonight and not get swept. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some of that controversy of, you know, well, it's they didn't want the series to end in a sweep, this and that. I don't think that's the case at all. The Edmonton Oilers played a very solid hockey game tonight. You saw that at the end, and I brought this up in our last post game show in Game 3. That I thought the Edmonton Oilers outplayed the Florida Panthers in Game 3, but they just weren't getting the bounces. They weren't getting the right looks. and whatnot throughout the game. And this game, and again, it was something that talked about in that in game three, game three post game show as well. That the Edmonton Oilers just weren't getting that what we call puck luck throughout the game. So hopefully this is going to change things for them as well. Now, on the other side of things, you look at a goaltender like Sergei Bobrovsky, who's just been he's game 1 through 3. He's clearly the best goaltender that we've seen in a while in the Stanley Cup Finals, excluding tonight. He let 5 goals in on 17 shots in tonight's game, and he just didn't look. He wasn't on point tonight. Clearly, he seemed to be kind of sliding all over the place defensively. The Panthers just again overall the Panthers just did not look good in tonight's game. And it was weird. You saw like they almost looked tired. In my opinion, you get 1 goal for the Florida Panthers tonight from Vladimir Tarasenko as well. But the positive side of things is, at least if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, outside of scoring goals, you get Draisaitl, who had a point tonight, which is the first point he's had in the series so far, as well. And Connor McDavid gets a goal. Some of your guys that we've been talking about in our post game shows that needed to score and get points and get assists and get on the score sheet for the Edmonton Oilers finally did that tonight. So it's a big positive there. And they scored on the power play. They scored on the power play for the first time in the Stanley Cup Finals so far. They went 1 for 6 tonight, so they had plenty of opportunities. 17% on that side of things. You get 33 hits for the Edmonton Oilers. But there's one stat here that I think stands out to me a little bit more, and that was the 23 blocked shots from the Edmonton Oilers tonight. Now, that obviously is going to help out Stuart Center's confidence in playing in net. When you have a defense in front of you who's getting in the way, who's blocking pucks, who's pushing things out when they need to, and not sitting back and waiting for the Florida Panthers to continue to push forward. Again, I don't necessarily know. Outside of the first period, I don't think we saw the forecheck from the Florida Panthers like we typically do. Unless I wasn't seeing it, I did not see the forecheck from the Florida Panthers like we typically see, or at least that we've seen in game 1, 2, and 3. As well. The second period really opened things up. You get the Florida Panthers only had 4 shots on net in the second period. I almost said fourth quarter. I'm talking football. Where you get 4 shots in the second period for the Florida Panthers, 17 for the Edmonton Oilers in that second period as well. And that was the big difference. And, we talk about all the time is, which period is going to be that difference maker. Edmonton seems to play better in the first period. Florida seems to play better in that third period. Game 3's big difference was that second period. Tonight's game was the second period for the Edmonton Oilers this time around. They were able to push things a little bit and kind of open up. They definitely opened up the scoring. 8 goals. That's something else. It was the largest scored differential in an elimination game in Stanley Cup history, or they tied it, something on one of those 2 orders. They either tied it or they now hold the record for the largest score difference in an elimination game in the Stanley Cup Finals. So another, again, impressive win for the Edmonton Oilers tonight, as they will now get a game 5 back in Sunrise, Florida as well. So it should be another great game. Hopefully it should be a great game. Let's see what comment we got here. Right, Aaron. Yeah, so why is it when I can't be on the Oilers just went absolutely crazy? Aaron, and we've talked about it the other night after game 3. That maybe this Edmonton Oilers team is figuring out the Panthers. Maybe that's what they needed tonight. And that's what now, is it possibly too late? Have we seen teams win 4 straight games in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Yes. Have they done the Stanley Cup Finals? It's been quite a while since we've seen anything like that happen. But yeah, I mean, we talked about it the other night that maybe this Edmonton Oilers team is just waiting. They're sitting back and waiting to figure out to I guess figure out how this Panthers team is. And now they probably waited too long. And again, I still say game 3, the Edmonton Oilers could have won that game. Again, we go back to that puck luck side of things that I like to bring up during these shows as well. So again, maybe it's just the Edmonton Oilers figuring out the Florida Panthers as well. And they were able. The big shocker for me tonight, I think, at least this completely my opinion, could be 100% you're different for you if you're watching tonight's show, is the fact that they were able to get Sergei Bobrovsky out of the net tonight. And again, I know he didn't look 100%. He wasn't on his game, but the fact they ran him out halfway through the second period is really impressive. And it shows that this Edmonton Oilers team can score quickly and they can score a lot of goals and they have a lot of firepower, which we all know that. We anybody who watches hockey, I wouldn't say we all know that. Anybody who watches hockey know that the Edmonton Oilers can score a lot of goals very quickly, but so can the Florida Panthers. So like tonight, in my head, as you go into that third period, even though you're up 6-1, you know how dangerous this offense is of the Florida Panthers and how quickly they can bring in some goals and whatnot. So, but just overall impressive game from the Edmonton Oilers tonight. Like I said, mentioned it in that game 3 post-game show that the third period for the Edmonton Oilers was a good thing in game 3, and they continued that play into game 4 tonight as well. So yeah, so shoots the puck into the 5-hole. No pun intended. 100% pun intended. And Bob goes down. He just looked out of it. You get Darnell Nurse tonight. We that's another guy that we talked about in the last couple shows that needed to step up when you're paying that type of money for a defenseman. He gets a goal tonight, an absolute blister of a shot to beat Bobrovsky. I think it went glove side. Did it go glove side? Or over the shoulder? One of the two. It might have went blocker side. Can't remember. It was like 4 goals ago. It's been a while now. But it's tough. You look at game 5 now is what kind of team are we going to see in the Edmonton Oilers? What kind of game are we going to see from the Florida Panthers? That there's always those big question marks. Can the Panthers get it done? It's hard to look back at that, and hopefully maybe Bob just needed a reset. Maybe Bobrovsky just needs a reset and just needs a little bit of a break there. But who knows? We're going to find out in the game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals on Tuesday night. Okay, they get a 2-day travel break as they have to go back all the way down to Sunrise, Florida for game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm going to get out of here tonight. I appreciate you stopping by and tuning into the show. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you enjoy our content here at Variety Sports Network. Like, share, subscribe. Aaron will be here Tuesday. Who knows who else will be here Tuesday? Could be a packed show. It might just be, well, I'll know Aaron will be here. So we'll see you next Tuesday for game 5, the game 5 post-game show between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. And the big question mark right now is, can the Florida Panthers finish out this series and get the Stanley Cup back to Sunrise?